Mike Reis with Saluki Hall of Famer DeAnna Price. Good to see you
Good to
as
see
always.
you.
You aren't going to cry or anything,
Always.
are you?
I always cry.
God, not
how
during
this
the
works.
interview.
I always cry.
I know you'll cry when you accept
You
the
know
thing.
what? It all depends on you. If you start talking about emotional stuff, then it's free game. It's free game. It will happen. It's inevitable.
All the things that you've done in the last few years. Haven't even asked the question yet.
I know. I was like, I have the idea.
I mean, there's so many things that you've done on a grander scale than this. Saluki Hall of Fame. So what does this mean, this honor from a place I know that means a ton to you?
So I came here in 2011, and how much it means to me, I haven't left. My husband and I,
True.
we have not left. It
True.
is the embodiment of my throwing career. This is where it all started. This is where I met my husband. This is, the journey that it brought forth. I went from starting in high school, only 3 months before college, and I was going to go play softball.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to go do that, and then they took softball at the Olympic Games. And it also helped that there was this really cute 6'4", 310-pound male, named J.C. Lambert, who was throwing for SIU. So that kind of helped a little bit. And
Who she eventually married.
Yes. We're married now 3 years, and it has been just the journey of a lifetime. Being a Saluki, to me, means everything, because this is where the path has led. Being an Olympian, being a 2-time Olympian, being, world champion, making all these world's teams, it all started here. And that's, I always say, even though those are such amazing accolades, being a Saluki is probably the biggest moment of my life, because that's what set me on the path to being able to achieve all these things and meeting so many amazing people on the journey.
DeAnna, look at all that you've done these last 5 years. 2 Olympics, you've won an NCAA championship. You did that in 16. There's a world championship in there too. I mean, what have you missed?
Man,
that you should have done?
Well, unfortunately, this year I ended up getting hurt, so
Yeah.
I ended up having like a nice little scar now.
Oh, nice.
So I was on the, path.
You would have
for
finished
placing
higher.
gold. Yeah, I was coming in as the gold favorite, and that was probably the hardest moment of my life, because within a month from breaking the bone off of my foot, taking 2 tendons with it, and then a torn hip labrum on top of that I've been fighting off since 19, my right leg stopped turning. And it was probably the hardest moment, because I had to adjust my sights from going from gold to, okay, we just have to, let's just qualify through. We had to take it day by day. And I mean, we had to do therapeutic use exception forms, because they had to do steroid shot in the ankle. They had to do pain pills, just to kind of curve to make sure that I can still compete. And I asked the doctor, I said, is there anything worse that I can do? And he goes, you already did it. It's gone. And I was like, okay, let's just help with pain management and let's do what we can do. And I knew I could still throw far. With a broken ankle and a torn hip labrum, I still went 73.09. And I was like, okay, it stinks, but I know that I can do way better. And that's the only accolade that I'm kind of missing. And now I'm kind of wanting that world record as well.
So you're going to go for 24?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I said I think it was God's plan, because I said if I medaled this year round after 2022, because I have an automatic bid for World Championships, I was going to retire and, start a family. I think God's saying, hey, you're not done yet. Let's go do this thing. And, and it's a blessing in disguise. I'm already 2 months ahead of schedule. I'm already starting to train.
Good.
And, ankle surgery was 2 months ago? Hip surgery was less than a month ago. And I'm already knocking at the door again.
Yeah. We know why you still competed while you were hurt.
Yeah.
I'm curious, though, for no real important reason, why did you keep the injuries quiet until it was over?
I think it was more of a realization of your own. If I admitted it to myself, then it's kind of becomes more reality. And then people kind of give you like this, oh, I'm sorry, kind of. And I wanted to be like, okay, this is the hand that I'm dealt. I don't want my competitors to know. I don't want people to know yet. I want to be able to fight as hard as I can, because you kind of keep hoping for that last minute that you will be okay. And after I qualified through, I remember I just cried and I just spilled my guts. I was like, I'm hurt. It's terrible. It's the worst pain I've ever been through. But, you know, there's just this thing that I wanted to do. And, you know, like you said, I took it day by day. And it was moment by moment. And I could not have done it without my husband. If he was not there, I don't think I would have been able to compete. Because he was able to keep me calm, keep me grounded, being able to achieve the dreams that I knew that I wanted, and he reset the goals that were actually attainable this time. And he goes, just be the #1 USA girl this year. That's the plan. He goes, if you place 8th, if you place 6th, if you place 3rd, great. He goes, just make that hammer final. That's all you need to do this year. I said, okay.
John Smith, who's now the throws coach at Mississippi, was the throws coach when DeAnna came to SIU.
Yes.
Now he says, I don't recruit anybody. They come here.
Yes.
And then we distribute the money once they walk on here. So why did you come here if he truly doesn't recruit you? I mean, obviously the program recruited you.
So I was the exception to the rule.
Okay.
So it was a Lindenwood competition. It was an all-comers meet. So I was there throwing with, you know, Geneva and Gwen, which, mind you, those are some powerhouse women. And I'm at the time only about 100 and probably 80 pounds. And I remember Coach John being in his Coach John stance that he's continuously notorious for. And I remember he goes, come here. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the world's best throws coach wants to talk to me? What? So I walked over and he goes, you want to know something? I was like, yes, coach. And he goes, you're going to be really good. I was like, yeah? He goes, no, I don't think you understand. If you come to SIU, you're going to be very, very good. He goes, you're going to be to the caliber of those 2 girls right there. And to me, I just thought he was crazy because I was like, what are you talking about? Like, they're massively amazing, beautiful, powerhouse women. Like, how can I compete with these girls? And he's like, set your goals to there because you'll get there real soon. He goes, within 3 years, you're going to be going. I was like, okay. I was like, he's a little crazy. I don't know what he's talking about. But, you know.
And you said, I'm coming?
I said,
from Moscow Mills, Missouri?
So what kind of sold me was that beautiful blonde hair, blue eyes, 6'4".
Okay.
You know, kind of he coached J.C. Lambert at the time. He was an athlete, and I actually came on a recruiting visit, and I was watching them competing. It was one of the first SIU meets at the rec center, and I remember sitting there, and Coach John goes, hey, good to see you. It's awesome. He goes, let me introduce you to someone. And then here comes this blonde guy running over. And I first thought was, holy crap, he's huge. And JC and we sat there on the ground in front of the rings on the back half of where the bathrooms are. And we just chatted for about 3 hours.
Oh, boy. Almost
to the point where he was missing his warm-up flight where he was supposed to compete. So he left, and it's so funny because I actually quizzed him the other day. I go, you probably don't even remember what I looked like the first time you met me. You know, I was just a high school student, junior, and, you know, he was a sophomore in college, and he goes, your hair was up in a ponytail, you had silver hoops, you had a black and red long sleeve shirt with black pants and white shoes. And yeah, that's been history ever since.
What was your favorite year at SIU?
Favorite year at SIU? Oh man, that's a hard one. I'd say 2015 and 2016. That's a hard one. 2015 and 2016. 2015 was an amazing season because that was the last year of Coach John. It was the first team I ever made. It was kind of the realization moment that I knew that I could do something amazing with the sport. And I remember, you know, I had this girl from Bowling Green, her coach, and she was getting flowers, and everyone just was like she was going to win. And she's a really nice girl too, which makes it even harder because I love nice people. And she goes, and I remember sitting there, and they ranked me. I had one of the best numbers coming in. They ranked me like 8th. I remember thinking, I was like, oh, heck no, that's not happening. And I remember getting in the ring, and Coach John, you know, said a couple words to me. Coach Connie came up to me, headbutted. That was our thing. We headbutt. And so we headbutt, And then I got in the ring and I went 71-49, and I ended up winning my first ever NCAA championship. That was such a cool moment because I just knew, I was like, wow, that's so cool. And then 2 weeks later, I came to USA's and I went 72-30, and I made my first ever big girl USA team. And to me, that's kind of where my journey started, that I knew what I wanted. And, you know, I wanted to make the Olympic team. I wanted to go to schools. I wanted to talk to kids. I wanted to be able to show how amazing SIU is, because this is where it started as just a small little dream, you know. Me and my freshman class, we actually came in and we were like, we're going to be Olympians in 2016. Did we think that was a reality? No. But to actually be able to become an Olympian, you know, I placed third and at trials, and, you know, from there, Coach Lambert took over my my throwing program, and he's now got me up to 80 meters, the second farthest female in the world, and it all started here.
Excellent. She is one of the great ambassadors in SIU history, as well as one of the great track and field athletes, and now a Saluki Hall of Famer. So happy for you. Congratulations, and thank you for the time.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Go Dogs.